Welcome to the journey of a lifetime. Today we're diving into a football manager rebuild like no other. Ipswich Town, my local team, a club on the brink of relegation. Today they're going to be giving wealthy, game-changing owners who are about to turn everything around. With zero debt and huge transfer budgets, we're going to completely overhaul this squad. The goal? To rise from the bottom and win the Premier League. Are you ready to see how quickly we can turn Ipswich into Premier League winners? The most dominant team in England? Let's go and see how this goes. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, you can leave a comment below on any future rebuilds you want to see. It can be a normal rebuild, a rebuild like this, a challenge rebuild. Let's have some fun. So then, this is going to be Ipswich Town inside of the game, a team that I think in real life are playing some good football, but sadly, I think they are going to go down. Now today, we are going to be using the editor to clear the debts, which was very minuscule anyway, and just add a front end sort of rich benefactor, because I do think these rebuilds are very fun to sort of see what a team can become with money. Like if you look at Newcastle, for example, I'm not saying they only got good because of money, but when they do get a big rich backing, they can go out and attract big players like Tonali, like Isaac, those sorts of players, bring them in, and it's interesting to see how long it will actually take a team to sort of go and win the Premier League. Now, obviously Newcastle, we're at a much bigger point than Ipswich are at the moment anyway, so it probably will take longer with Ipswich, but Ipswich have got a lot going for them. They have won a Premier League in the past, an FA Cup, a Europa League, which people forget about, 3 Sky Bet Championships, 1 English Southern League Premier Division, and 2 English Third Division South. So they have won some trophies, and of recent times, let's not forget, it is constant promotion after promotion. Now, in the first season, we did have a budget of 21 million. I'm not going to spend it because we are playing on the new database where we have the new players, etc, etc. So we are going to go in and instantly talk tactics. Now, we are going to be using the Bournemouth manager's 4-2-3-1 purely because it's a very solid 4-2-3-1 that I have made in the Premier League with a team like Bournemouth, who obviously are superior to Ipswich at the moment, but I think after a season, a couple of seasons, we can be at that level. Now, we've got some big players in here, and some of these players I absolutely love to bits. I think they're quality. The first player is Liam Delap. I think he's genuinely an absolute monster up front, and if I can, I will keep him for the entire project because he's only 20, and if he develops well inside the game, I think we're going to be in for a treat. Other players, obviously, if you like Ipswich, you've got Morsey. Realistically, he might be moved on. Leif Davis, again, a very, very good left back. We'll see how he develops. We've got great wingers. We've got Sammy in the middle. Obviously, we've got this lad in DM. I always butcher his name, so we'll call him Jens because I will butcher it. He is a very solid player who usually I would plan on bringing in. Alongside of that, you've got Phillips, who's very iffy in this game. And other players, Twanzebe, very good. Clark, Greaves, Chaplin. We have got decent players. I will say these players will not win you a Premier League, at least in the first few seasons. But if I had it my way, I will keep the players in. But also, in my head, I'm aware we have got a challenge, and that is to win the Premier League. Now, we are playing in 3 competitions, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Premier League. And they are predicting a finish of 16th. So not rock bottom. Actually, 4 places from that, which is quite nice to see. And maybe it's because we've got this great tactic. I'm not sure. What I will say before we go into the first season, if you do at any part of this video want to get this tactic and also get this rebuild file at the end, you can carry it on. I usually set you a challenge as well. You can check out the Patreon and also get all of these perks. I would also say we've just announced our biggest giveaway on that page yesterday, and there's currently 20% off all new sign-ups. So if you are going to join, now is the time. We've got close to 5,200 people. The community chat on there is absolutely popping. Always tactics, always Wonder Kids going about, so make sure you come on over. But let's go into Season 1 with purely a very simple expectation, and that is to not be in the red. Right then, we're going to start off with quite a positive bit of news because the FA Cup, we actually get to a semi-final, which for our first season, I am very happy with. We were literally 1 step away, 1 goal away, or a couple of goals realistically, from playing Arsenal in the final at Wembley. So I mean, do you know what? I don't hate it. Well, this is a shock because we did play Arsenal in the English Cup final. It is going to be the Carabao Cup final, and we actually get off to a great start here, and it is going to be none other than Liam Delap, who is going to be always in that right area to make it 1-0 inside of 11 minutes. Around about, about 30 seconds, quite literally after, we are going to go through again with Clark down the right-hand side, Arsenal really not enjoying, and again, Liam Delap. And if this final so far is anything to say how well is done, we're going to be in for a treat as we carry on the the attack. 82 minutes on the clock right now, so a big part of the game has gone, and it is an absolute stinker from Neto in goal, as it is going to be Jadon coming in and making it 3-0 inside of 82 minutes. Unfortunately, the clean sheet gets scrapped. Arsenal get a penalty. It was a clear pen, I will be honest. A great penalty from Saka. We are then going to bounce back with a very well-crafted set piece. In fact, for a team of our quality at the moment, a ridiculous set piece from us there to make it 4-1. Arsenal do get a little sort of consolation, but at the end of the day, we've already won an English trophy and we have signed none of our own players. This is going to be an exciting few years, especially when you're going to be in the Europa League. That is a ridiculous first season. I mean, what I will say is, it is going to be stressful now because we are going to have a lot more money given to us, not only because of the front end rich benefactor, but we have won the Carabao Cup, we've got top 6 in the Prem in our first season, and also a good run in the FA Cup. Now, we have got to give some flowers to this guy because he is a player who I actually thought was on loan. I don't know why my head went, I thought he was on loan, but he looks absolutely incredible. A player valued at £50 million. He is absolutely quality, and he has come in pretty much well, he has been our top goal scorer, a little bit off Haaland, but very close to Solanke, the most player of the matches, the second best performer. He, in fact, is the only player out of an Ipswich team who is really in the stat lines, apart from Calvin Phillips, who I will not give credit for getting yellow cards for. That is absolutely remarkable. Now, in terms of how we actually played, we are the 8th best at conceding goals, so we overachieved in the league position compared to that, and the 3rd best at scoring, so it's really the defensive side that needs a bit of buffing up if you compare the two. But in terms of the tactics, we are going to go and see who scored the goals, although I imagine the Liam Delap will have something to say about that. He does, although it is actually our right wing with 25 and 16, the man we looked at. 9 and 1 from Sammy, and CCO 16 and 9 for the right price. I would try and bring him in, but I mean, for 61 million, I highly doubt we're going to have that budget. We will check though. 13 assists from Davis, Johnson 3 and 5, obviously Delap 22, 11 and 5 for Chaplin, Twanzebe a couple of assists. This man out on loan, I will say he was on loan at Stoke, wasn't he? So again, it's not an easy league. 17 goals is very impressive. Harness out on loan also scored 10. Harry Clark out on loan with 8 assists. So we've got some players who had great seasons coming back from loan. But realistically, moving on. Sadly, I'm not sure about the keeper situation because he's currently still a championship keeper. I might look to upgrade. Obviously, the likes of Phillips, I don't know if I'm going to keep. Godfrey, there's a lot of ifs and maybes, and there always is when you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 loanee players, because to be honest, this guy I think's quality, and for that price tag I would pay it, but for a first season it was actually quite average. So I will decide what we're going to do. To help me decide, we have got a budget of £90 million. The debts and loans are practically clear, so we have got the go-ahead to go and spend almost £100 million. Now, what I will do is, as I always do for people that aren't aware, if there's players that I don't want, every season I always go on here, I go by the contracts, I look at the people, and if there's people that I don't want, I will always transfer list them and offer them out. If they don't appeal, any offers, I will let them go on the free if their value's quite low, because I'd rather them go off the wage book than just be sat here rotting away. Simple as that. So let's get into Season 2, our first season with transfers. Let's go see what we can do. I did decide to make Jens a permanent transfer, and I'm quite glad I did because he's now a decent Premier League player. He only cost me a total of 10 million, and he had a big improvement in a season. 4 goals, 13 assists. That's more like him sitting in that deep area. He is a very well-balanced player, and of course, a player that was really, really appealing and very much wanted to come to Ipswich. So when you've got a player that wants to come that much, also not on a ridiculous wage, I'll happily take him as an option. We've instantly gone over and improved our goalkeeper situation, picking up Niklas Hedl, the Austrian, 24 years of age. He comes in for 16 million. Again, 15 clean sheets is a decent return. He did unfortunately concede a goal extra compared to the game that he played, but 15 clean sheets, a decent average rating, still with quite a weak backline. I'd argue it's a very good season. Did spend big, and I mean big, took up most of our budget on bringing in, hopefully, our forever left back in this rebuild. It is going to be Fabiano Parisi. He comes in, plays almost every game, and he does have a good first season. It's his first year in England, so the physicality is going to be a bit of a shock to him. 3 goals, 6 assists, drops a decent average rating, but what you get with this guy is quite a young wing-back who is also semi-pre-built. He can put a ball in, he's good on the ball, 16 dribbling, great tackling, tackling, good determination, got the good work rate, got the good stamina, he's quick, he can go up and down the left flank. He is a really, really good player, but sadly, good players cost a lot of money. And to finish it off, we are going to bring in Mika Marmol from Las Palmas, a player that can hybrid between the left back and the right and the centre back. For us, he will be playing centre back. Now, he plays 37 games, majority of these were at the left centre back role. He does okay for his first season. I'm not expecting 10 goals a season or any crazy ratings. Very similar to Parisi should I say, in the fact of you're signing players that aren't like young like 19, 20, but they're in that sort of middle of their careers where they're not quite developed to their best. You can be the reason they do develop to their best, and you'll have them from sort of 25 to 31 in their real prime, which of course is perfect for a rebuild. So I think with this window here, great keeper, incredible left back, incredible hybrid player there, and also a great DM, I think we've done very well. And as it stands, we have lost no one. So purely strengthened. Our first season in European football was actually quite a good one, because in the league phase we are going to win 6 games against some decent and teams that I think we potentially could be beating anyway. The loss comes in against Salzburg. They have got some good players, especially in this game, of course, as we know. The round of 16 we actually match up against Nice, who have got some good quality players as well, and a decent manager. We are going to beat them 6-2. The quarter-final we're going to play Stuttgart, again the same situation, decent players, good manager. We beat them 5-3, and in the semis we just about edge over Chelsea 3-2, and we're going to be playing Real Haspalis in the final. This could honestly be a chance. And in the big game, you rely on big players. That's always how it is in football. And luckily, we have got Jadon, who has been a very big player for us. A little bit of luck to get the ball back, but he is going to make it 1-0 inside of 8 minutes. So that's a big statement being made. Sadly, I forgot that Real Haspalis have some ridiculous players. One being none other, as you'll see very shortly, than Isco, who picks it on the edge of the box. And if there's one area you would not want him to shoot from, it would be from the edge of the box. And he ties it up 1-1 just before the 30th minute, but we do sort of regain control 6 minutes after, with Morsey on the edge, playing it out wide into Johnson. Way too much space for him there. He's going to get a ball in the box, and again, it is going to be Jadon making it 2-1. This guy cannot stop scoring, and what a time to get them goal-scoring boots on in a final of the Europa League, as we are going to go on to win this, that is right, win this, in our second season with an incredible strike from Chaplin. Also had a very good run in the Carabao Cup. The final was an absolute blitzing. We do get battered 5-1, but again, showing that we can get to 2 finals at minimum in Season 2. Sadly not 3 finals, we actually take a step down in the FA Cup, no semi-finals this time. We're going to go down into the quarter-finals, but do you know what? We've won a Europa League. I really couldn't care, and to be honest, the Premier League's remarkable. We're going to have Champions League football. Now, we would have got this anyway. I know we won the Europa League, but to finish second in Season 2 is such a statement. Liam Delap, I am buzzing to say, is the Premier League top goal scorer. Headall the 3rd most clean sheets, and also Jadon the 4th most assists. So genuinely, Delap is developing into a very, very good player. You can see right now, 28 goals in the season. He genuinely could be part of this team for the next sort of 5 to 6 years, 7 years, however long as it takes. It is a very, very good option. Now, I will say, as seasons go, it might be one of the better Ipswich sorts of rebuilds I've ever seen. I mean, a Europa League, a second place finish, so guaranteed Champions League football either way, a final appearance in the Carabao Cup. I imagine the money's ridiculous now. We've been given, actually, you know, about £40 million less, which is surprising, but I can't complain because we nearly had 100 million in our first window. Now, debts and loans again is nearly non-existent, so we can go through and spend almost every penny once again. In terms of the tactics, let's go and see why we were so good. Simple as that. 5 and 10 from Johnson, 4 and 16 from Parisi. That is incredible at left back. 3 and 10 for Morsey. Jens coming in with 4 and 20. Very big amount of assists. 25 and 20 from Clark on the right. We love to see it. 20 and 20 coming in from Jadon, and 36 and 3 from Delap. Now, honourable mentions, 24 and 11 from Chaplin, the man that scored in that Europa League final. Let's not forget about him. He's not really much on the ability scale anymore, but let's not forget about him. He's played a big part. That is a very good season, and I tell you what, very nice to see Jack Clark really come into his own, play very well in the Premier League. Obviously, Jadon's been great all the time. Sammy through the middle's not offering me much. Sadly, I don't want to say it because I do like him, but he's offering me next to nothing compared to the players around him. So I do think he potentially will be getting sold and be replaced, and hopefully you can understand that. But that is a very strong season 2. Let's cue season 3. Be sure to hit a like right now and subscribe, because this is going to be an exciting rebuild. Obviously, the video will not literally stop until we lift the Premier League. So Europa Leagues are great, but the Premier League, that's what we want. Right then, so signing one is going to be a bit of a unique one. Coming in from River Plate is going to be Rodrigo Villagra, I believe that's how you say that. He comes in, 25 years of age. He's very consistent is what I will say. 33 games, 4 assists, a player that isn't the biggest name ever, but if you look, just a nice humble player who is very well rounded, and I just think adds another set of legs into the midfield, all for a price tag of 11 million, and his wage, not that much either. I'll turn again to another Argentinian player and pick up Alan Velasco. Now, a player that I will also pick up for 22 million, and he has had a great season. 15 goals, 12 assists in the league alone. He's only 23, a bit more on the wage front, 87 grand a week. He's very versatile though, so I honestly don't mind paying that salary. Lastly, a bit of advice for anyone. If you want a cheap and very good centre-back who has got the pace, the strength, the jump and the tackling, and also a bit of passing about him, and also is only 23 and doesn't want a lot of money, so I think I've reeled off about 8 positives there. Look no further than Martin Vitic. He comes in from Sparta Prague, 13 million, incredibly good in terms of coming from, let's say, a bit of an easier league where he's playing a very good team, jumped into the Premier League, dropped just shy of a 7 rating. For a first season, that is more than acceptable, and these players all set me back less than our total budget, so we didn't overspend. We haven't profited anything yet either, which is a little bit sad, as you can see across every page. To put it bluntly, the players that eventually don't really get into the team because they haven't been playing, no teams really want them, so there will be a season where you see a few players leave on the free, but at the end of the day, if we look at our finance situation, obviously this is from next season, so a bit of a spoiler, we've got 85 million, our debts and loans are clear. We are completely fine in the books. We've got the front end, so that's being taken care of. But question is, 85 million. I think we won something big to get that budget. Let's go and see. Well, I mean a big drop-off in the Premier League. We're talking, what, 4 places in the Premier League? Granted, it is very close from probably, well, it is granted from 6th to 4th is very close. Liam Delap's still going to be in there. Sammy Smordick's actually going to be in the average rating, so he is getting a lot of game time, which is quite nice to see. Maybe he's improved this season, but that is a big drop-off in the Premier League. Now, for me, there could be a positive to this. The positive would be that we've won a lot of other cups, but that's a big ask. But let's just go and see, because if we haven't, this is going to be a bit of a downward spiral in a very progressive rebuild so far. Well, I mean, we did win the European South American Club Cup, whatever it is, challenge. I mean, I'm not being funny. I'm not going to take this as a trophy. It means literally nothing, so we're not even going to celebrate it. Tell you what, the Champions League was actually ridiculously good, because we got genuinely to the semi-final of the Champions League in our first time. Arsenal beat us by a couple of goals, fine, but we got through 2 knockout games here. Ipswich, we beat Manchester United in the quarterfinals. The round of 16, we beat Inter Milan 7-5. We're beating some top teams. The league phase, we do draw 2 games, Monaco and also Atletico. We lose against AC Milan, but we're beating teams like Lyon, Villarreal, Bodo Glimt, Ajax. That is a great season. Sadly, and get ready for this, the rest of it is an almost season, because we are going to be finalists in the Community Shield, lose on penalties against Tottenham, Super Cup a 2-0 defeat against Madrid. That's completely fine. The FA Cup, semi-finalists, a 2-0 loss again, and also semi-finalists in the Carabao Cup. So we actually won only this trophy out of all these competitions. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 competitions. Now, I will say that might have a small part to play in why there's a bit of a drop off in the Prem, because we are playing, we'll take this one away because it's done before the season starts, we're playing in 6 competitions. Now, with the squad we've got, that's not going to run. That's not going to happen. So I'm going to be less critical on the players, because they've had a lot of fixtures to get through this year. So do you know what? will be reasonable. We've got a lot of money to fix the issue. We've got 85 million. And in terms of the team, let's just go and see. Did anyone stink up the gaff maybe? Delap's still scoring. Velasco comes in and does really well. Jaden does really well, 17 and 18. Sammy improves big time, 12 and 13. In terms of the stats, there's not really a drop-off. 11 and 4 coming in for Jack Clark. Connor Chaplin, 13 and 13. Do you know what? In terms of actual player stats, it's not looking horrific. What I will say is, with the eyes now, I can see a few players that might need to be upgraded to go into the next season. Right back, he's a great guy, but Johnson, I think your time's up at right back. And I would also go over and potentially say, you could say maybe bring in one more midfield player in the sort of deeper area. Sammy's improved big time this season, but will he win me a Premier League? I don't think so. So maybe bring in another AM. You could also argue centre-backs. We've got Greaves, Vitic, Marmol. Then you go down to the likes of Wolfenden, O'Shea, Burgess, and also Tuanzebe, who realistically aren't going to be good quality Premier League winning rotation centre-backs. Other than that, we're still looking very, very strong. Delap's had no reason to get replaced as it stands. I mean, he's bagging in goals relentlessly. It would have to be a very, very attracting striker option for me to even consider replacing him. So let's queue up the next season with close to 100 million to spend and see what we can do. Right then, so we have got a lot of outgoings, and some of these were actually from the end of last season. The first one is going to be Harness. He's going to leave, goes to Wrexham, so still a good level of football in the Championship. 4.2 million. He doesn't do that well, and to be honest, despite being at Ipswich for a couple of years, his time's up. Oluwongo is also going to go to QPR for 225k. Again, does quite well considering he is, what now, 34? Done his bit for Ipswich. Time to move on. Actually recovered a bit of money for Nathan Broadhead. He's going to go to the Saudi League on 22 grand a week. He goes for 6 million. So again, not only have we got a little bit out of him, but we've profited from the signing from Wigan. So at the end of the day, good for business and also just good for his career in general. He raised a big bit of money for Luke Wolfenden, a centre-back who I said didn't really have much of a future at the team anymore. He comes in, £10 million they come in with. I mean, I'm going to sell him. I believe we actually got him on the free, didn't we? So realistically, that's £10 million of pure profit. Who's going to say no? And Morsey, he's 35, so do you know what? It was quite hard to sell him. He is going to be going to the Saudi League for 1.5 million. It's 1.5 million. It's not the most money in football, but it's better to get something than nothing. So with already a big budget and money on top, with obviously transfer fees, etc., etc., we're going to welcome in Lucas Bergvall, obviously the Tottenham man. He comes in for 37 million and enjoys a decent first season. Again, this is a player that is purely brought for the future. He's 21, can play in multiple positions, and do you know what? Yes, it was a lot of money in terms of, like, if you look at it, 37 million sounds a lot, but for actually what you get to attract a player from Tottenham who's very, very good, a model citizen, that's not honestly that much. You're also going to pick up a more proven Premier League winger in Anthony Gordon, a player that I do feel could actually be a Premier League winning quality player inside of this game because he's got everything a winger wants. He has got the acceleration, the pace, determination, crossing, dribbling. The finishing is okay, is what I will say. Not exceptional, but okay. He can play on the left, on the right, through the middle. He's still only 26. He cost me 39 million, but do you know what? For 25 goal contributions in the Prem, I'll happily pay that. Going to sign another centre-back. It is going to be Big Nathan, coming in from Freiburg. He comes in at the age of 23 for 34 million, plays almost every game, 4 assists and drops a 6.94, so no goals in his first season, which only surprises me because I know how good my set pieces are, but still a very decent first season and just a player that is really good at centre-back. He is quick, the tackling's there, also very good at playing out from the back, and he's still only 23, so tons of years in him and already getting in the team. It's good to see. 25.5 million, we are finally going to bring in another right back. Now, the options of right backs are very limited at this stage of the season, so I will go over and say 25 million on this lad, 2 goals, 2 assists. A decent first Premier League season. Not usually the player I'll go after. I've never signed him before, but I looked at him out of a very limited choice of right backs who weren't 200 million and wanted to join us, and he was probably the best option. So do you know what? Welcome into Jose. And the last signing is going to be João Felix. Coming in, £115,000 a week, 27. Now, I know he has played at a lot of clubs and has not worked out. He comes in for us and he does quite well. 14 goals, 8 assists, 5 player of the matches. He is not playing as a striker. He is playing in that AM role to compete and probably replace Sammy Schmordix. Let's be realistic. He offers a lot as a player. I know he gets banned for his time at Chelsea. Obviously, he's played at several clubs, but great agility, great composure, great dribbling, great first touch, great technique, great flair. He's a very technical player, almost a bit like Bruno Fernandes. Not the quickest, but very good on the ball. So a different option, a very good addition to the team. And I look at the players we've brought in. We've brought in a great midfield player, a great winger, great centre-back, a decent, good right-back, and a very good attacker midfield player. That's big improvement, and all the people that left us are people that we wanted to leave anyway, so it was planned. I'm hoping we can recover. We're going to be in another Europa League final, believe it or not. This time it is going to be against Nice, and we are going to be going 1-0 up very shortly, and it is going to be João Felix, the person who was brought in to try and lift us a little bit, has done that job. Sadly for us, they literally get an equaliser in the 89th minute, and it was very annoying because the defending was diabolical and there was nothing that happened in extra time, so it is now in God's hands as we are going to go down to a penalty shootout with Gordon tucking it into the bottom right. Never really a doubt with him, he's sort of a composed player. They're going to step, and again a very, very solid penalty. Muric does start this cup final to clarify. Connor Chaplin, who was injured but carried on, does tuck away the penalty. Diop is going to step up, strike it, and that's a great penalty into the bottom right corner. We are going to have Valagra stepping up, a good penalty. Again, always using the bottom right. A lot of players do in this game. Boga is going to step, and again, switch it up this time. He's going to go into the top left-hand corner. João Felix steps, great penalty, pretty much right in the top right corner. Penalty for them? What is Muric doing? I think he's gone home. No idea why he just didn't save that at all. Velasco steps and just about beats his man. They're now going to have a penalty. Muric needs to redeem himself. That's as close to a penalty miss as you will see. We're then going to have Carmona step up, a great penalty into the top left. A lot of penalties being taken. It was a very good penalty for the players. For the goalkeepers, it was pretty limited. As again, we are going to have Jens step up, a great penalty into the bottom left. No keepers really come close to saving one too much, to be honest. They're always getting sent the wrong way. And this penalty shootout went on for quite some time. Now on to the centre-backs, with Vitic stepping up, a great penalty, and eventually we win 8-7. Premier League is okay. Obviously, we've got Champions League football because we have won the Europa League, but we're not really back into that second place that we achieved quite early on. Maybe it was a bit of a fluke season, I don't know. What I will say is Manchester United are absolutely flying. Onana, Højlund, Diallo, De Ligt, all in the stat lines. Delap, second top goal scorer, we love to see that. Anthony Gordon, joint most assists in the Prem. Very good to see. But overall, we need to start climbing this table quite quickly. As an actual team, I'll quickly show you what else we did sort of achieve. Nothing is the answer. A third round exit in the Carabao Cup against Liverpool 3-1. And quarter-final exit in the FA Cup against Brighton, a 2-0 defeat. Now, as an actual team, our goal scoring outlet is so clear of our defensive performance. So the money we've got has to be put into the back line. And before we even see the money we have got, we are going to go and see our team. Now, Liam Delap's still doing it, 30-5, 9-9 for Velasco. A bit of a drop-off. João Felix, an incredible season, 23-15, 24-18 for Gordon, 1-7 for Jens, Valagra 3-4, Parisi 2-14, pretty decent there. On the bench, no real standout stats. 7-6 for Jaden, 4 coming in there for Al Hamadi, 5 coming in for Hurst, who definitely needs to be moved on. He needs to be moved on. Bergval 3-7, Davis 1-7. So our left back situation's quite good. But I mean, I look at the back line. We've got to pay attention now. So our goalkeeper is a championship standard goalkeeper. He really hasn't worked out to the full potential that I thought. I think it's a mixture of not having the best performances and also having too many shots faced at him. The poor guy's confidence must be completely rock bottom. Our wing back situation, let's look at it. So right back, we've got a good right back. Backup, not good. Left back, Davis, decent backup. Parisi, very good left back. Centre backs, Greaves and Ngoy, with Vitic and Marmal as backups. Now, I will argue, I think that's a good lineup, but maybe the right man can come in and replace one of them potentially, depending on the amount of money we have got. Defensively, we will also include the DMs. We've got Jens and we've got Valagra. We have then got Bergval, that could be an issue. In the DM role, we don't really have much of a rotation option, so that's definitely where some money's going to be spent, 100%. The attack is pretty much on track, but you could also argue some backup options to replace Hurst, for example, might be needed. So let's just hope we've got a big budget. We've got 87 million, that is very generous. So 90 million pounds, obviously the net debt's gone up a little bit now, but we are still going to spend because they can take care of that. We're trying to get Ipswich a Premier League title, so let's go in now to the next season. As I said, it's not an awful season. We've added, what, a couple of Europa Leagues now into this cabinet. The reputation is absolutely flying, by the way. Yeah, we've added 2 more Europa Leagues. We are winning stuff, but the Premier League needs to come back. Right then, so a player who I brought in, mainly because he was available on a semi-cheap price, is Mbomo. Now, this guy is absolutely nuts in this game. It's actually quite a quiet season for a player like Mbomo. He's been brought in mainly for the fact that he has had tons of Premier League experience, and I do think when you're talking about trying to win a Premier League, he might be a more consistent player. Now, there are a couple of downsides to this move that might annoy people. The wage and the age. But realistically, we are now 5 years in. We have to try and start making some pretty big progress. Minimum this season, we need to be back in the top 4 in the Prem. Pick up another attacker just for an option, and it is going to be Jorge, coming in from, I believe, the Brazilian league for 11 million. Something tells me he's definitely played a lot of games. He's scored a ton of goals. He's either got game time on one of the wings, or maybe, for the first time in 5 years, Delap's had some competition. Time for 3 free agents. The first one, definitely an improvement in the back line. We are going to welcome in Bio. He comes in on the free, valued at 94 million, a rock-solid centre-back with a rock-solid decent return as well. Not only great for business because you can sell this guy easy, and I mean teams will be begging for this at 50 million pounds. It's absolutely incredible. A great player, valued again 58, 69 million. Curtis Jones, played for one of the biggest teams in English football at Liverpool, incredibly versatile, still got a few years in the tank. He's also played a ton of games, so must have fit in the team somewhere. And once again, at any point you want to sell him, it's easy, and again, I mean easy, 35, 40 million, you get that for him. And we also, on the free, pick up Inacio, valued at nearly 100 million pounds, 26 in his prime, a rock-solid centre-back. He gets right into the team, which means, on the free, we have got an entire new centre-back pairing, which is very rarely done, and what a pairing it is. A great midfield player on the free, a very cheap attacker, and despite having 85 million, we've spent 38. We've spent pennies, so I just hope we've done enough. Well, we're going to win this thing again. I'm not even going to talk about it. We've now won it twice, and the second time doesn't feel any better. Another season in the Champions League, and despite getting past the league phase, we are going to bail out quite early in the round of 16, although it is very close against Madrid. I will say that. The UEFA Super Cup would have been cool to win it, just to say we've won it, but unfortunately, PSG just about beat us. Round exit in the FA Cup against Brighton against City makes it a bit more acceptable, but the FA Cup, we've not even got to a semi-final yet, or maybe we did in Season 1. We can't really do anything in the FA Cup, at least for the Carabao Cup. We've been in a couple of semi-finals. The FA Cup, we're not the same. Carabao Cup, a real step back, another loss on penalties against Tottenham. What is it with Tottenham winning penalty shootouts in this save? It shouldn't be happening. But the Prem, I will say, we are back into the top 4. So I got what I wanted. It was done on goal difference. And Liam Delap has had competition and been out-competed because Jorge comes in with 25 goals, which is very good to see. Heddle might listen to the criticism because he's now got the 4th most clean sheets in the Premier League. Other than that, it is still going to be quite a quiet season based off individual stat lines. Now, tactics. Let's go and see exactly what has happened because we have got... Wow. Okay, it's happened. So Jorge comes in with 40 goals across all competitions in his first year. Absolutely insane. Liam Delap with 5 and 1. So he has been out-competed. Now, I done it because this guy was so cheap. He was meant to be backup, but he's come in and obviously, you know, sort of kicked Delap out of the team. And now Delap is wanted by Palace. So, you know, what's the value looking like on Delap? Because we're not biased. We will sell him if we have to. We might be able to get, if we get 40 million for him, he can happily go. He's done his job here, and if he's going to be out-competed, I'm all for competition. It's how football should be. 40 and 1, 9 and 15 for Gordon, Felix 13 and 6, 11 and 13 from Bomo, Jens coming in with 1 and 7, 9 assists for the right back who is now wanted by a Saudi team. That's always awful to see. A Saudi team, a Saudi team, a Saudi team, a Saudi team. Honestly, everyone's wanted by Saudi teams, really. And Palace. Saudi teams and Palace. I mean, Saudi football genuinely need to leave the club alone because they can pay probably times 10 the salary. So the next transfer window, don't be surprised if you see our right back, left back, DM, right mid, Cam all leave, because if the money talks, especially with people like Felix who will bounce around clubs, maybe Mbomo who's getting older, they could be tempted. So I'm going to do my best to try and keep the players. We have got a budget of 66 million, 70 million should I say. The debts and loans are very, very minuscule, so we can go and spend. If they do buy our players, we do get 100% of the money, so we will listen to offers, but also, I'd rather keep them because we are now back on track into the top 4. I think we can keep progressing. Maybe another 2-3 years, we can get the job done. We're going to do the players coming in first because we've had quite a lot of outgoings and also a lot of players going on loan. Now, for the experience and the fact that we brought him in on the free, we are going to bring in Guendouzi because he's brought a level of experience. Again, he played for Arsenal, he has played in England before, and he just brings a level of composure, very well-roundedness, a very, very strong player, world-class, and just for a season, I want to see if it can be the difference from finishing in 4th to going back to 2nd, or maybe even winning it. Who knows? A younger option, and again, another right back. We are going to welcome in Martin Fernandes. Now, he is going to be a leading Premier League player at the age of 23. He is rapid, he can put a ball in, the anticipation's there, determination's there, positioning, tackling. For 29 million, I think we have got ourselves a great right back. 12 assists in his first year, a goal, great average rating, and for 29 million, you don't find much better. We are going to pick up another goalkeeper, a 4-star ability player in Dennis Seaman, coming in from Stuttgart. He comes in for 19 million, a very reasonable price tag to pay. He keeps 20 clean sheets, concedes less than the appearances, which has not happened for a goalkeeper of ours since this rebuild started. So that is a big, big improvement and honestly could make all the difference. That don't make the difference. When you see Ronnie Bargi, despite being on the market and wanting to leave, and you got teams like Chelsea coming in, Arsenal, I've had to overpay by about 40k a week to sort of lure him away from them teams. But look at him. Look at the attributes. Just for a second, pause the video. Look at the attributes. He is such a good right midfield player. 33 million, 31 goal contributions, 7.4 average rating. He is cooked in the first year. We did have several players leaving. Now, every player that you see left on the free was on the transfer list and got offered out so many times. But Harry Clark goes on the free, Ben Johnson on the free, Brad... Is that comma on the free? We've obviously raised some money here for Jack Clark. He goes to Al Fayed for 14 million. Sammy, the same club. Nice to see him go together. 4.8 million. And every other player almost is going to be a loanee player because I thought we've got so many players here. Let's try and loan them out and at least some clubs can contribute in terms of the wage. But realistically, we've lost players that we expected to lose. We've gained players that I think are really going to be big additions, especially the likes of Dennis and Ronnie. Let's go and see what's happened because genuinely, we might have a shot here at least getting our 2nd place back. I'd like to see us improve on 4th. It'd be a big shock in the Champions League because we nearly won it. We nearly did win the Champions League. We do lose in the final just by a goal against Barcelona. The semi-finals, we actually get past Madrid 5-0, which... if we can beat them, surely we can do well in the Prem, as we also beat Dortmund 5-2, and the round of 16, we get past Chelsea 7-3. The actual league phase, we're going to be incredibly competitive, obviously. We do lose 2 games there against City and Barcelona, but regardless, a very, very strong performance. Sadly, another runners-up trophy, medal should I say. We're going to lose quite badly, actually, against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup final. Who did we get past? Anyone good? Leeds, not really great. Manchester United on penalties, it's an okay game. We didn't exactly have a miracle run, so at least we didn't, beat every team apart from Arsenal, that, City, all them sorts of teams. They deserved it. I can't knock it. This I can knock because I think Tottenham have had our number now for every season in the Cups. We're going to bail out in the 5th round of the FA Cup against Tottenham. but we have won the Premier League. Now, it is one of the closest Premier Leagues I've actually seen in terms of probably the top 4 in quite a long time. 78 points, 82, double 84. It's as close as it gets. We do win by quite a fair chunk of goal difference, it has to be said. And the question is, Liverpool, who obviously lost to us, did we lose to them at all? We didn't. So the head-to-heads as well, we had that advantage. Now, I will say, João Felix and Mbomo, both in the top goal scorers. Ronnie Bargi and João Felix, both in the average rating. Dennis Seaman made all the difference today. The most clean sheets, the first time we've ever had that stat line. Ronnie Bargi and the new right-back, both in the assists. This transfer window won me that Premier League, and that is simply... You can't argue it. This transfer window single-handedly won me this Premier League. Now, in terms of money, if you are going to carry on... hang on a second, I didn't get this treatment. You've got £134 million to spend. You've got basically zero debt, and you have also got an incredible team. And the challenge I'm going to set for you is going to be to win the Champions League in the next... I'll give you one more transfer window, so you can spend 134 million and play about with the team, and that's good. Yeah, your challenge to win the Champions League in one more season. So if you're interested in carrying on, getting the Tractor Boys tactic, getting the rebuild file, you can find it on the Patreon. And what we do is, when you do complete the challenge, if you send me a screenshot, it can be via Imager, it can be via email, whatever it is, I do dish out a random prize to just not everyone, because I mean, last rebuild I had about 60 screenshots, so not everybody gets a prize, but a lucky winner will get sort of £10-20 PayPal, just as a little thank you for being part of the Patreon and showing some love back. But you have got a good team as well. It's not purely just, you know, you've got challenge after challenge. You have got an incredible right back, great left back, a world-class centre back pairing, very good midfield players. I will say, invest money in that midfield, bring in some younger players. 18 and 27 for Ronnie Bargi, Gordon 14 and 19, João Felix, again, he must be 29 now. Again, you could bring in a younger attacker midfield player, but you've got money to do this, right? You've got 140 million, you've just won the Premier League. You're laughing realistically, but that is going to be the challenge complete. We have won not only the Premier League, to be honest, we have won more than that. The reputation nearly at 5 stars. We've won another Premier League. The arrow is all the way on the up now. We've obviously gone over and won 2 more Europa Leagues. I believe that might be it, if I'm right in saying. Let me know if I've made a mistake right there. And if you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Do come over to my main channel and check out my live streams, by the way, because we do rebuilds live. So, you know, another reason, if you like my rebuilds, watch me do them live. And I'll see you in the next one.